Welcome to another Outsider Reviews, and this week, 2025 Honda Ridgeline Trail Sport. Yes, this truck, mid-size truck, is just built different. I know some people have that as a slogan, but this one really is. And we're talking about a unibody pickup truck as opposed to a body-on-frame. So, talking about differences, this one is going to be a little bit smoother to ride, but it's going to feel less like a truck if you're kind of a trucky person. And there's certain differences, and I'll highlight along the way. This is their Trail Sport, their all-terrain trim for the Ridgeline. And right there, you can see the unibody version is because it doesn't have as much, articulation, flexibility, ruggedness that a body-on-frame would have, which is why they've kind of limited the off-road capabilities of that. And by that, I mean, we're talking right here about the front clearance level. So it's got less than 8 inches of clearance at 7.6 inches of ground clearance, which is on the lowest side in this segment. But to make up for that, what they did is behind the hood, they decided to put a V6. It's one of the only ones left with a naturally aspirated V6. I reviewed the Nissan Frontier, that's another one. There's also the Jeep Gladiator that also has a naturally aspirated V6. But outside of that, those three, this is pretty much it. Before I go into a little bit more specs, let's talk a little bit about the front fascia design. I'm going to say I'm biased because it's not my favorite. Now, I do like everything about, the logo, and I just think it's a little bit too rounded off. And I like a little bit more square and truck-like design. But really, it's all big come to personal taste. So you guys comment below what you guys think about the design. I like the original Ridgeline, where it's a little boxy, kind of looked like an avalanche too from the side profile. But the 2025... I'm just saying it's not bad. It's just a little bit rounded, a little bit less trucky. So I mentioned the inches in ground clearance, but here's the other specs. So we got a 3.5 liter V6, naturally aspirated, like I said, that puts out 280 horsepower, 262 pounds-feet of torque via a 9-speed transmission. It's capable of towing 5,000 pounds, and its payload for this particular trim is 1,477 pounds for payload. It's actually really good, especially with this segment. 0 to 60 times actually pretty fast. Is 6 seconds. I say it's pretty fast, but all considering. Price tag, well, it's going to be anywhere between, in Canada, from $55,000 to $60,000. The Trail Sport here, you're looking at about $58,000. In the US, you're looking at $40,000 to $48,000. So price-wise, it pretty much matches out with everything else. So I talked about the ground clearance already. It's a little bit on the minimal side. And also you got to be aware that you're not going to have metal skid plates going throughout, even though this is more like an all-terrain version. There's only a metal skid plate that protects the oil pan, and that's basically it. Very minimal on the skid plates. So it's going to be more for trails, right? You're going to want to go on trails with this, going to your cottage and stuff, hence the name Trail Sport. That's what it's meant for. It's not meant for matching up with the Raptor or the likes of the ZR2 from the Chevrolet. It's just not what it's for. So if you're going to compare it to the likes of the Tacoma TRD Off-Road, not the Off-Road Pro, the Chevrolet Colorado, not the ZR2, but the Trail Boss, I guess would be. But if you compare it to all those, it's still almost 2 inches less in ground clearance. They're all above 9 inches, and this one is not even at 8. So enough about that and ground clearance. What do you guys think about the sky blue color? I love it. I think the more colorful, the better it is. That's just me. And the Trail Sport badging is also very colorful. I love that too. When you come to the side profile here, this is where you see some of the changes other than the badging for the Trail Sport. So you have some all-terrain tires, giving you a little bit more rugged. These ones are dirty, but I'll give you some clean ones. And these are 18-inch wheels. The wheel design, spoke design is pretty good. I like it. And it's going to have features like it does everywhere else, which is approach and departure, lock and unlock. And now we're going to go talk a little bit more about the bed. Now, if I was a bit critical about the front and the aesthetics of it, I am completely all for the back end. I like how Ridgeline is stamped across, you know, Trail Sport badging over there, but also the engineering that goes when you come to utility back here is what really is going to impress you. So the Ridgeline, the way I was talking about it is, you know, it's not the most appealing, but for logical thinkers, makes a lot of sense. Anyways, getting right into it. So you open it, it's not dampened, so it will just drop. But that's not the only way to open this, which is pretty cool. Over here, I have a handle right underneath the Trail Sport badging, actually, and it just swings out. So it is fairly long as far as, you know, it's not a barn doors, not dual like you see from Ram. It's just one, but it does allow for very quick and easy access to your bed. You get really close up in front, right? Now towing, I've mentioned 5,000 pounds, that's on the minimal size. But then I also hinted that this is fairly good in this segment for payload, which is great. You'll notice right away, or maybe you don't, but anyways, you got a couple of inches there that's a little bit higher than what you see in our truck, and it is a little bit shallow when you go depth here. And that's because you have a trunk compartment right here. It is fairly deep. You can actually fit quite a bit in there, and back here as well you got your spare tire, so you can fit quite a lot of stuff in there. It's got a drain plug as well, very convenient. Another convenience thing now might have to do with the fact that it's higher, because you'll see there's not a predominant wheel well here. There is a little bit, but you're looking at 50 inches across. So what does that mean? That means those 4x8 plywoods, yeah, they'll fit in here, which is actually pretty good. You got some tie downs here and there. You got two over here, two over there. So you've got your tie downs, and you also have another storage compartment right here. All in all, I think they did a very good job maximizing the utility of this truck bed. Now back here, you see another pro for this, for the Honda Ridgeline is legroom. It does pretty well in legroom, better than the Taco. It's got 36.7 inches of legroom. I'm a 5'9" individual. I fit perfectly fine here. I also have headroom. I have about an inch left of headroom, so it does very well in this segment. Other notable features is cup holders. These ones are kind of small, but you do have a big gulp cup holder right here in the door, as well as a place to store your device. Another thing that I found that's kind of cool, this has tri-zone climate control. So I have my own climate control back here, and I got heated outboard seats. For the connectivity, I got a 12-volt outlet. I would have liked to see a USB-C in there, but and vents are over here. All in all, seats are pretty comfortable, and you can always reconfigure them if you want more storage. So I'll just get out here. And on the side, there's a pull handle, and it allows me to pull it and to lock it in place. I can do the same thing with this one. So what you're looking at is a 60-40 split right here. And I like the ease of it, just grabbing the handle and pulling them up, and then they lock fairly easy. And it's almost a fully flat surface. I do have a little bit of a lip here. This is where these legs kind of go in and lock into place. So I guess not much we could do about that here. But this flat surface, definitely fun for the utility side of things. Okay, first and foremost, I just started it up, and I've already mentioned how comfortable it is, and we're going to talk with these seats. So we got heated seats, and we got perforated leather seats. So, and the fact is, I like how it feels wider, but the side bolstering is not as stiff as other vehicles. Like when I reviewed the Ford Ranger, I found myself to be uncomfortable in that vehicle because I'm on the wider spectrum. I'm not exactly tall, but you know, you got over 40 inches of legroom here in the front. Again, pretty standard, but you do have 2 levels of memory seat. So it's just, you know, this is built on the same platform as the Pilot, and you really feel that sitting inside. And that's something that some people can appreciate, because when you're inside and, you know, sometimes you just don't want to be bounced around. Well, it's pretty good. So right now I'm in this sand pit where I was recording, and this is where I'm going to drive off. And what I'm gonna go with is you got a drive mode selector right down here. So I do have normal, snow, mud, and sand. And I got up here, obviously this is not extreme off-roading, but I got here to ride normal. And one thing I appreciate, because I did drive around in the snow and in the trails here, and I did climb a hill to that a fairly steep hill. And one thing I like is the all-wheel drive system in the Ridgeline, Honda Ridgeline all-wheel drive system is very good. It was very quick at picking up any kind of slipping and just really redirecting force. So you got that torque vectoring that's there to help you out, and I really like the all-wheel drive system in the Ridgeline. I got a 7-inch digital portion on my driver information cluster and the other analog gauge. Everything else is kind of standard from your buttonry. You don't have any touch capacitive nonsense in this truck, and I like that. So I've mentioned your drive modes, but you also have an econ button right here on the side. If you want to drive economic, I did not touch that button. My fuel economy is around 11.1 liters per 100 kilometers for the week that I've had it. So it's a little bit less than the 11.6, which is, you know, sometimes I'm over, sometimes I'm below. I usually drive them for the same amount of kilometers in the same way. So it tells you that they did a pretty good job for the fuel estimates. I like the wireless charger pad and the center console area. It just kind of has those big gulp cup holders. I appreciate USB-A, USB-C kind of connection. A little bit of a platform here for some storage. Everything else is kind of button HVAC. So then you get that 9-inch screen here. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, definitely appreciated. You know, icons are fairly big. It responds very well to any kind of touch and feedback you can have. I didn't have any issues with the connections or anything like that, so fairly standard. Put it in reverse. One thing that's noticeable here is I do not have 360-degree camera. So this being a trail sport, I would have appreciated maybe a front camera just to see what kind of obstacles you might be looking at. But again, this is not like a true off-roader. I'm going to be referring to that quite a bit. Now let's get out of this sand pit. So I do have a sports mode, so if I double click the drive button, it can go into sports mode, but that's not what we're going to be doing today. And so we have an off-road tuned suspension. So it's not a different suspension. It's not like Rancho shocks or DSSV or Fox kind of shocks. It's the same suspension, but it tuned it to absorb all these imperfections. So it's perfect for this kind of driving here. I'm in the sand, I'm in some mud, and I'm getting some bumps. It absorbs those very well. It's not going to increase travel or anything like that. It's just more gear for that. But I would say it's even more perfect when you live around where I live. It's Quebec in the mountains. The roads are very full of imperfection. It's going to absorb those very well. So if you live somewhere with lots of potholes, you know, in Canada or anything like that, it's going to absorb those very well. Here I am, a little bit of an incline. I'm going to stop right here in the snow, ill-advised. But I'm just going to show you the all-wheel drive. So I'm going to put it in snow, because I am on top of snow, which is on top of mud. And, and then I'm just going to floor it, and we'll see how quick it takes to accelerate out of this snow-covered mud. Let's go. See, very quick, very quick. You get that initial like half-second slip, and then it just transfers the torque vectoring kicks in, and it just, you know, gets you out of there. It slowly gives you progressive power, even though I just kept my foot to the floor there, and it just got me out. And there's no much need for me to go more into snow mode or anything like that, because the roads are dry, and that's where we're gonna go next, because we are gonna see how quiet it is and how the acceleration is on pavement. So I just kicked it in sports mode. I'm getting out of the mud. Pause of 2 and 3 and go. And here we go. So I love the sound of that V6. You've got to love the sound of that naturally aspirated V6, but what you don't love is off the start. I just hammered it. I didn't progressively accelerate. I just hammered it, and you can see there's a lag there. So a turbo engine would definitely pick that up a little bit faster. Natural aspirated, no. But you're not gonna buy this to race. Well, I hope not. I hope you're not buying this to race. Now, I'm a truck lover. I love reviewing trucks more than anything else. And I gotta say, this is a completely different feeling, but I'm not hating it. I actually enjoy it because the first thing I do when I pick up the vehicles is I have about a 4-hour drive ahead of me just to bring it back home. I live far. I live in the boonies, in the middle of nowhere. And this one was one of my most enjoyable rides. I like that it comes with all the advanced cruise control. It comes standard with that. So your lane keeping assist, it's not just a lane warning assist, so it keeps you in your lane very well. It doesn't just bounce you off. And the distance, everything about the advanced cruise control is very smooth. So if there's one key takeaway from driving the Ridgeline, as a person that actually loves driving trucks, they're what I liked reviewing the most. I wish I could review more trucks, but I'm a small YouTube channel, so hey, like and subscribe so we can change these things. But yeah, I love driving trucks. I've driven in the military when I was in the military, and it's just, I like being higher. I like bigger vehicles. This is completely different, and I don't hate it, especially for an everyday driver. That you want an everyday driver that has capabilities. This is it, because it is such a smooth operator in everything it does. Quiet. It's so quiet. It's so easy to see around too. Mirrors are just a perfect size. It's got a sunroof, which I like, especially from this camera. This camera cannot be there without a sunroof. And the Ranger that I reviewed last year, the 2024, didn't even have that capability of putting on a sunroof. So I like it. I appreciate it. So let me conclude with this. The Honda Ridgeline. I liked it. I didn't think I would, and it doesn't usually come to mind when you're considering a mid-sized pickup truck, but you kind of should. If you're anything for your logical side of things, you really should. And here are the reasons why. Utility, I talked about the bed. It's got more utility than all the other competitors out there. That space underneath, yeah, it's raised up, it's a little bit higher, but that gives you that more space between the wheel wells, so you can have those 4x8 plywood sheets good to go. Also, reliability. So naturally aspirated V6 have been tried and true, and they've been around for a long time. And if you're looking at, well, let's put it together. I mean, the Nissan Frontier, I've reviewed it. Go check it out on my channel. I thought it was a good truck, but this is completely different. Same thing goes for the Gladiator. So the Gladiator and Frontier, boxy, truck feeling, but that's not for everybody. Some people like to have a more comfortable and plush ride. This is going to feel exactly like an SUV, and it's going to be more quiet on the inside. Plus, fuel economy is pretty decent for a naturally aspirated V6. Yes, it doesn't compete with the Turbo 4 as far as fuel economy and as torque, but this 0 to 60 in 6 seconds flat, not too shabby. Overall, Payload, very good numbers for Payload. No, it's not, you're gonna compete with your other off-roaders, and it's not meant to. You can get to the cottage with this, no problem. Even if you have a snowed-in trail, I've done some driving in some snowed-in trails. I've done some driving on some dirt like this. It's not an issue, as long as you keep in mind that ground clearance. So all in all, if I'm doing a global comparison, I got some decent legroom. I got a nice utility bed. I got a nice comfortable interior and a smooth plush ride. So if that appeals to you, definitely go test drive one of these. It's not up for me to sell it to you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well, definitely to help promote the channel so I could do some more reviews like these. I definitely enjoy driving these cars and then making videos and telling you guys all about it. And I want to close with this, because in the times we're living right now, we're a Canadian channel, so I'm in Canada, and the US is talking about all these tariffs. Well, one particular individual anyways is talking about tariffs. Well, keep in mind, this is 74% domestic as far as USMCA goes, which is what they're looking at right now for tariffs. So this has one of the highest percentage. It beats out the Ford Ranger, which is around 65%. So 74% of this shouldn't get tariffed on it. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with price. That's a little caveat on the side. I don't usually address things that are going on in geopolitical landscape, but I thought it was very interesting that this is probably one of the most American truck-made vehicle in this segment. So comment below what you guys think. Comment below what you guys think about this overall review, and I'll see you in the next one.